Hey everybody, this is Joyce Chow for MBN News Video Web. We're here with Micah Skye, right here, who I've heard so much about. And one of the reasons is I keep on hearing you do amazing things with the body.
I've been told that, and I've experienced that with the work. Yeah, I practice a very rare form of neuromuscular therapy. This year, the intention is to globally launch it, get it out to the world. I've been doing it 15 years, and it's changed my life, and it's changed thousands of people I've worked with over 15 years. So it's time. It's time to get it out to a larger base.
So part of it is you know what you're doing, but for me, because I'm not that familiar with it, it sounds like it might as well be Latin.
Right.
So what exactly does it mean to what you do?
Right, and I'm used to that. So I've actually come up with a very descriptive way to embrace and express that to people. Your central nervous system is the intelligence facilitation of your body. It holds all intelligence and knows anything that's wrong with you. I was raised on homeopathic remedies. In homeopathy, if you take arnica to remove swelling or release swelling, arnica actually increases the swelling. And then your own body goes, oh, that's swollen, I should fix that.
Oh, interesting.
So that's the principle of homeopathy. I didn't know it for years, and I was raised on it.
That's like a flu shot.
Well,
in a way, you know what I mean?
So the homeopathy is really your body is the greatest healer to heal you. And when we wake it up on a nervous system level, it starts fixing itself. So when I reboot your nervous system, kind of like a computer, it reboots and starts processing, and it starts fixing anything that's wrong with it. And I've seen that with anything from Parkinson's to MS.
Really?
I have a quadriplegic patient whose arms started working, so paralyzed from the neck down. Good. Show me that shoulder again.
Here.
Look at that. And that was your your weak arm too.
Push this right here.
Here. Pull that back.
All right, now, bro.
You couldn't even push that? Wow.
Push this right here.
Wow.
Now I'm throttling.
Wow.
There we go. This thing got all the locks.
Wow. So awesome. And we're just getting started. Just by waking the nervous system up, So it's amazing. So for the rest of us that don't have Parkinson's or MS, let's say, and maybe have a distressed shoulder that we've lost range of motion with, when we reset the nerves and we open the muscles and get fresh blood and oxygen to the tissue, the body just starts fixing itself.
Which, when you put it like that, it makes total common sense. You think it's like, oh,
it's almost too simple.
Just give it some light.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And ironically, when I work with medical doctors or some neurologists that I've worked with, or any medical practitioner, when I explain it that way and then they experience the work, they're almost dumbfounded with how simple it is. That your body could actually heal you, it just needs to be woken up.
Which makes total sense, because your body, like you said, is its own best healer.
It's a brilliantly designed vehicle.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm amazed, and it's a testament to the brilliance of the design, that you could go 50 or 60 years without taking care of it, and it won't break down,
Could you imagine that with a car?
I don't think, I
it's
actually...
like no oil change.
Yeah, I talk to people, I say, how long do you think your car could go without service? Maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months before it breaks down. So this vehicle is so amazing, and it's craving activity. It's craving movement. It's craving being awakened. That's why the yoga movement and Pilates and different forms of exercise are getting so popular again, because movement, the body's creating movement.
Okay, but the energy flow throughout the body. How does it relate to something like acupressure or chiropractic?
Well, it works cohesively.
Yeah.
Many acupuncturists and Chinese practitioners have considered it similar to a form of acupuncture without needles. We're reflexing the nerves. So we're sending a vibration down the nerve, and it releases the electricity and flushes all these chemicals into the bloodstream, which accumulate. So every time you use your arm, there's a chemical release with electricity that tells your arm to drive a car or drink from a glass or open a door. And so after that chemical release takes place, for me, just in anatomy and physiology training, I thought, well, that chemical should just drain so that the next chemical could come in for the next task. Well, that's not how it works. Your body actually floods that chemical with information, and then it sits in the tissue, which I thought was a horrible design flaw. But then I realized the body is designed to be just touched, to move each
like
task.
as in massage therapy.
Just palpated, by you or by others. It's almost like an imperative for us to have to connect with each other, just to move the tissue every day.
Wait, I'll give you that.
So we're not touched enough,
Yeah.
and in America especially, touch is very alienated, and so we perform all these tasks throughout our day, and we don't get enough movement in our tissue, and so these chemicals start accumulating. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to send an electrical impulse down your arm. It's going to flush that memory out, and I want you to compare this arm. We'll just do one, just as an experiment. And I want you to compare it to the other one after I do it, and it's going to feel completely different. Okay?
Okay.
You're going to feel it go right down. Good. And I'm going to take it to the elbow. There it goes. Good. And I'm going to take it out to the wrist and out the main nerve line here in the ring finger. There it goes. Okay, so we're going to do one more just to really clear it. There it goes. Good. Felt that electricity go down?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
It's almost kind of ticklish.
Yeah. It's kind of a combination of that. There it goes, and we'll go out the pinky. Boom. Okay? So now we're just going to do one on the other side to balance it. Good. Here we go. Now we're just doing a little experiment. Normally when we go through the arm, we do it more in detail, but I want to take it out and just release it through a couple nerves. Good. Okay, so let that settle. And when you're ready,
So moving.
I want you to just kind of play with them and see what you feel. I want you to feel lighter, freer. How's the other one feel?
The same as it did before. I mean,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But sluggish.
Yeah.
Play with the two together. Let's just see how they feel. Different.
Yeah, they do.
And so what that is this arm is actually chemically lighter now because we kind of hot-wired your body in a sense by running electricity through, and it flushed all that memory out. And now this arm is actually draining, and over the next 24 to 48 hours, your arm is going to start running its own homeopathic diagnostic, trying to figure out anything that's wrong with you. Because it knows. Yeah, it has all the answers. I don't know. I'm on the outside.
So drink lots of water?
Drink lots of water is always key with this work. And sometimes I have kombucha. I suggest kombucha. It helps filter the liver.
It does?
Yeah, the liver supports blood
tea for
detoxification. So when you stimulate the liver or anything that supports the liver can help with flushing out toxins. So not only physical activity or stress, but emotional stress also gets stored. So not to take the romanticism away from emotion, but anytime you feel happy or sad is because there's a neuropeptide from your brain that goes into your cells and makes you feel something.
So this is a lot easier than a colonic. Well,
I would say...
But it's entirely different.
Yes.
No, but when I say that, it's because a colonic, it releases energy within the body that has memory.
Yes.
And has built up within the body. So it's a release of toxins.
It's similar. Yeah, it's a different path to something similar in that regard. Yeah. Because we're accumulating chemical memory, both physically and emotionally, of everything that happens to us. Because like this camera, we're a recording vessel, and we're recording everything that happens to us. Yeah. So when we flush something out, it allows us to be more present to where we are now. We tend to carry our whole history.
Actually, that's good because a lot of times, like athletes, when they're in training, they have something they call muscle memory. It's like, remember the repetition, your muscle memory, and it comes back. Right. And your body remembers like how to ride a bicycle and do different things. And so the great part about this is if you train your body, then your body can help take care of itself better.
Well, and I work with a lot of athletes, and the way they've described it is all the times they've trained to do that free throw from college into the pros. Yeah. They have all the knowledge and wisdom, but they also accumulate the wear and tear and stress. And when we release the wear and tear, all that's left is the knowledge and wisdom. So one of my patients described it like, I have the arms of a college basketball player, but the seasoned experience of a pro basketball player. So, and it works the same for musicians who have played, 20, 30 years, and we free up their tendons and their hands and their arms, and like now they have new arms and...
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, so it's really neat. I mean, for me, like this, I had a torn ACL, and I was told my options were surgery. And from waking up the tissue, it regenerated itself. So I was indebted to this work a long time ago.
So does that also work with youth? I mean, in a way, it sounds like it's just, because
Yeah.
we're in Beverly Hills. Well,
Sure.
not literally right now, but very close to Beverly
Mhm.
Hills, where women spend a lot of money on plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Not just for their faces, but a lot of it's for their faces.
Yeah. Well, ironically, we have what's called an organic facelift.
Yeah, because
That's
it's
part
muscle
of
memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, all your favorite expressions and micro expressions that you do when you socially communicate, you store in patterns in your face, and you access those patterns when you communicate, and that's what creates creases in your epidermal and dermal layers of your skin. So when we erase those patterns, your face relaxes, and it gives those areas a break from the creasing. And then when we stimulate the muscles, outside of releasing the memory tied to your expressions, we also get collagen to start being produced. Everyone knows collagen. Everyone hears about collagen and how important it is.
Yeah.
So your muscles start toning and lifting.
Yep.
So the organic facelift we do is really fun. Sometimes I'll do one side of a patient's face and have them look in the mirror.
You don't let
and it lifts and tones, and the other side gravity is pulling down. So I've helped a lot of people get off of doing some of the more artificial treatments like injections, like Botox and things, because if we lift and tighten the muscles in your face, you'll get the same effect, and it's organic.
And
so there's no side
injections.
effects. There's no side effects. There's no healing turnaround to it. We have to wait a while, and you can get as many of them as you want to, and it's amazingly effective. I mean, when everything from even the eyes get pulled down in the socket, and so we lift them. So we'll do one of your eyes, and it's sitting higher in the socket than the other one.
See?
The cheek's one of my favorite. Yeah, literally.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so it's now we're looking at how to branch it out into beauty spas and salons and things, because people who do facials could do this organic facelift as part of the service for it. But it's really neat. I mean, I'm more interested in the deeper mechanics, that you have emotion and trauma around your expressions, and when we release that, it helps get that out. But on a superficial level, which we are superficial beings to some extent, we can lift and tone your face and make it look completely different, and it will continue tightening and lifting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, over the period that we do it, and the more we do them, the more it will continue to tone and tighten and lift, and more collagen will be produced. And
that is amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved in something like that? Did you have an injury that prompted you, or was it somebody close to you?
I was in the film industry like a lot of people, and of course that couldn't be the only thing I was doing. And I always had a resonance towards bodywork and massage therapy. And I was in massage school actually at the time, training in a multitude of modalities. And my neighbor actually was the original man who developed this system over about 35 years. It was very unrefined.
Right.
He introduced himself and saw my massage table and said, "Oh, you do bodywork. I've been developing this system for the last 35 years." And I kind of disregarded it at first because everyone in LA talks. And over time, we became friends, and he had scanned my body, and one day he looked at me and he said, "Your shoulder's been out for 3 or 4 years, and you have 3 ribs out, and your hips are pronated, and I could fix that for you." And it was a challenge on some level, because I felt fine. And within 30 minutes, not only did he reset my shoulder, but the muscles around my shoulder. And for the next week, I had to learn to use it in a different position.
Interesting.
And I came back to him and was like, "What is this? Please teach me this. This is like nothing I've ever seen, none of the modalities I've ever found." And he said, "Oh, well, I don't really have a way of teaching. I'll teach you by working on you." And I spent the next 10 years apprenticing under him. My body became the product of the science.
Right.
It was very medieval, to say the least, in terms of the intensity and the application. So I worked really hard to make it more applicable to the masses, using other modalities and structures. I refined the techniques and principles and wrote a whole sequence for it, and started writing a manual for it, and he retired and passed it on to me. So I'm it right now in the world for this work, which is why it's a lot of pressure, and it's also a huge responsibility for me to get it out to the world.
So how are you getting it out to the world?
Well, besides this being one way, there's a documentary featuring this work that's solely focused on this, because I work with a lot of physically and sexually abused people. In fact, that was one of the driving momentums for me to keep doing this, because I could watch someone who was abused when they were 10 or 11 years old, who had had 15 years of psychological therapy, but were still holding the chemical memory of the abuse. And within a sequence of treatments, it synthesized all of the work that they did mentally and psychologically, and maybe even spiritually, but the chemical residue of that trauma, by freeing that, it was like opening the floodgates, and I watched these people completely transform, and they would come back to me and just say, please keep doing this work. Like, my whole life is different. Like, please just promise me you'll keep doing this for other people. And out of all the amazing people that I helped physically, or pro athletes, or, you know, really interesting people that I worked with, or myself, that always stood out to me just to be so important. You know, 3/4 of the world's women, it's 75% have been physically or sexually abused. So
That many? Wow.
and that was a statistic from even like 5 years ago. I don't know what it is today, but even
That
then
is,
it was.
yeah.
So it's really it's an honor for me every time I take somebody through it. It is paying back the person who took me through it. I mean, when this happened for me and I got my knee back,
Right.
I was 18 and I wasn't comfortably able to squat.
Wow.
So for me to be able to squat today and even bend my knee in ways that I never could before is just amazing. And so every time I do this for somebody, I'm completing that cycle again. Because I couldn't think of anything I could honestly even pay this man for getting my knee back. It was just priceless. So we're doing our first apprenticeship program. That's the next step. Besides getting more awareness to this, for me to travel around the world and share this with different communities, is we're doing our first apprenticeship program in May on Kauai to actually teach people to do this, because I can't treat everybody.
Well, you can only be so many places.
Yeah, exactly. And I have 2 children, and so that's its own path. And I've treated them since they were babies with this work, so they are the embodiment of this work. It's amazing to see also how much trauma a 6-year-old has. What do you have to have traumatic experiences when you're 6, right? On a magical island in Hawaii. But it's amazing.
Kids are kids.
And they're active. And stress necessarily isn't even negative. You know, a hike is stressful. Sex is stressful. Stressful acts accumulate in the body. They don't necessarily have to be a negative stress. It's just wear and tear, and your body is a biochemical vessel, and it's accumulating history all the time. And no one taught us that we're supposed to release it as we go by even palpating or touching ourselves. So we're very alienated in this country in regards to that.
Yeah, we don't even think about that.
No. In fact, it's 2 extremes. Touch is either sexual or nothing at all. That's what I've noticed about it. And so even I feel like between family members at a certain age around puberty, it shifts to become more kind of awkward, even with parents touching their children, which is really sad to me and kind of strange. And so there's a lot of theories and beliefs that I have around working with thousands of people over 15 years of why that is. But more importantly, it's just the fact that it is, that we're not touched enough, and we become byproducts of this historical pattern of personality quirks or mental things, or bringing people around us that aren't conducive for us, aren't positive for us in our lives. And when we change your chemistry, we don't just change the psychology, because remember, your brain is chemical. So when we change patterns, let's say you're holding a lot of sadness, and let's say that it happened to be stored in your shoulder. Every time you move your shoulder, you're dosing yourself with those old chemicals, and maybe you're just feeling sad and you don't know why. So when we flush that out, it just clears you. And because everything physical has a vibrational undertone to it, just in the quantum physics of all things, everything is vibration and frequency. Well, neurochemicals have different vibrations. So joyful chemicals have higher vibrations. Anger, sadness, stress has a lower vibration. When we flush that out, it changes the vibration of your energy field, your aura, which changes the vibration around you. So I see people change their environment because we change their chemistry, because their vibration changes. So that's a whole other thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
See, you can have a whole class and all. Actually, much more than a class. It's
literally.
Yeah,
Literally, yeah.
But if people want to find out what you're doing, where they can go for apprenticeship, or to meet you, or to study with you, or to be treated by you, where do they go?
They could go to, you can simply just type in Matrix Body Mechanics, and our site will come up. So it's under construction, but it has all of our information. It has some of the pages of the manual that we have that's coming out. And that's the next focus, is really finishing the manual. I'm designing the layout myself, and it's working with a photographer and doing everything that every other healing modality wasn't, which is lots of pictures and lots of instruction. So when you reference it back 6 months later, you're not lost if you learned it, And so Matrix Body Mechanics, it's www.matrixbodymechanics.com is the actual website, and all the information is on there. I've kind of tried to make it more concise on how to find me, so to speak. And then I'm traveling anywhere in the country, really, if someone feels, called to bring me somewhere. We're looking to do a European tour this year, and Bali and New York and Miami. It's just hard for me to be everywhere. So I find it to be a ray of hope for people that have given up. In fact, I get a lot of throwaways from Western medicine. People that they've kind of given up, and so it's really neat to see somebody who's accepted that they can't move their shoulder past here because they're 65, be able to do this again, and they just light up.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
And the website again is
Matrix Body Mechanics.
And follow us all over social media at Monty Bones. And now it's recording. The red light is on. Okay. I'm like, going here. It's like, okay. Hey everybody, this is Joyce. Center. Okay, this is the part of my ass is sore, so I'm gonna go like this. I know, and I'm sober. Okay. Yes. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Joyce.
Hold my hand.
Okay, hold your hand. Okay. Oh, okay. Hey everybody, this is Joyce Chow for NBN and News Video Web. We are here with Micah Skye, and he's smiling, and I'm so totally relaxed. We did a, how would you call it? We did a first treatment, which does a lot of energy release from the body, and it's how would you describe it as a?
Yeah, I mean the work is done in sessions that are 2 hours roughly, about 5.5 to 6 hours for a whole series, and the first section or the first session is head, neck, shoulders, jaw, the organic facelift, and the arms, and precursor to the heart. Yeah, look at her face, how lifted and toned and just beautiful. It's glowing. You're glowing.
I know, they've been looking at me because I feel so relaxed, and it's like, it's like, okay, I'm a little bit giggly, but now I'm perfectly straight. I've been drinking water. Been doing lots of cleansing, but part of it is the energy release, because the body holds a lot of toxins and buildups from different things that you're doing.
And memory and history, and so naturally when we flush the chemistry of suffering and of memory, you're lighter. You're chemically lighter right now. You're feeling lighter and more elevated and lifted.
Actually, I am feeling very, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. I know they're just looking at me. But I'm feeling very relaxed. So one recommendation is, okay, besides water, just take your time, relax, enjoy the moment.
Be gentle with yourself.
Yes. Don't go out to party afterwards.
No, not recommended.
Relax.
Yeah.
Relax.
Because you're under construction.
So, personally, after you've done any of the treatments, especially the first one, what should you do? Relax, drink more fluids.
Drink a lot of water. Sometimes I recommend lemon water with a little cayenne.
Oh, that's
helps
good.
with the
Cleansing.
pH.
Yes.
Yeah, it helps balance the pH because you have a lot of acidity with the lactic acid that we flush out of the muscles, and you have a lot of proteins and just chemical residues that are coming out. So I like a soak. So I always recommend soaking is always nice afterwards.
Oh, jacuzzi
and just
sounds so good.
just being gentle with yourself really is key, because you're under construction. We like to keep about a 24 to 48 hour window to do the next section. So,
okay.
So I personally, as a patient of this work, like to do back to back, because we're working in different section of the body every time.
Right.
And so, like there's a jade tourmaline far infrared technology that you get to lay on.
Oh, you feel so totally relaxed.
And from that's
and it's very healing.
Exactly. And when we do the next session, that helps release everything from the last session, and it kind of connects and continues the process. So it's really, really amazing. And then it puts that theta wave healing process going, which accelerates all the releases. And then each session synthesizes the next ones and ties them all together.
Well, I'm looking forward to bringing more to you because this was just after the first session. You can see the transformation. You can tell I'm a little giggly after a little bit. But I'm very, very relaxed.
You're glowing.
Glowing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. And we're even in dim lights. Oh,
Mhm.
doesn't that sound good? Anyway, it's perfect. Just make certain that you plan to relax afterwards. You don't have a whole evening of events. Either that or you're just going to go ahead and cancel them.
Yeah.
But it's a rebuilding process within yourself. So anyway, this was after number 1, the first part of the trilogy. We've got 2 more parts.
Mm-hmm.
So join us for more. Meanwhile, to find out more information, where do they go, Micah?
MatrixBodyMechanics.com.
Okay, and you'll find out more information about it there. Meanwhile, follow us all over social media at Monty Bubbles.